everybody, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show. We give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show, coming to you from right here at the AMC Movie News headquarters here in Burbank, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also, here's AMC's Christian Harloff.
Hello.
Also, here's AMC's Mark Ellis.
That's right. And right now, peppermint and mango are waging an epic war inside my mouth. Who's going to win? Find out. AMC Movie Talk.
Garbage can's going to win.
James Mckenzie. Oh, we're doing an all mailbag show today, guys. So first question comes from James Mckenzie, and he writes, "What's up, AMC crew? How's it going, guys? Is it possible that WB will go with only the Carrie Kelly Robin for the DCU, starting in B versus S with Jena Malone? Of course, that is if she is playing Carrie Kelly. What if she's introduced as Carrie Kelly in B versus S, but doesn't become Robin until the solo Batman film?"
There's a lot of assumptions being made. Well, not just in the email, but so it's understandable that you'd ask that in the email because there's a lot of assumptions being made all over the place about this. I remember the first time Jena Malone, who I like Jena Malone, by the way. I think she's really good. She's really good. When it first came out that she was going to be in the movie, and I think she's a natural redhead. I can't remember. So everybody just said, oh, she's going to be, the Kelly girl. That's who she's going to be, obviously. It's like, because she has red hair. Right. She's totally the wrong age, right? Like, you totally get that. But I mean, that doesn't mean they're not. I mean, I think movies need to change things up, and that's what they might be doing. However, let's just recognize that's a massive assumption that she's going to be playing Kelly, because she very well may not be, but she might. But if she does, there's another level of making assumptions here that, well, then she's going to be Robin. Well, not necessarily. Let's look back to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films, right? You had Dylan Baker playing Dr. Connors in those two films. And you saw him in the first one, it's like, he's going to become, the Lizard. And then he was in another film, and he still wasn't the Lizard. Just because they have a character there doesn't mean they have to make them become whatever their alter egos is. And so it's very possible. I'm not going to say very possible. It's possible that Jena Malone is going to be playing Kelly in the film. It's possible that that's who her character is going to be. But even if that happens, that doesn't necessarily mean that that character then goes on to become Robin in any sense of the word. So possible, yes, but let's make sure we're understanding all the asterisks that are going beside all this stuff. Anyway, Christian, you saw all this stuff. What did you think about it?
I agree with you. I think right now it's a lot of speculation, and who knows if this is indeed going to be the character that we think she's going to be. But the one thing with Dylan Baker, by the way, the funny thing is he was going to be the Lizard.
That's what they say.
Well, he said it. He said it as well, too, and it was going to happen in that new movie, but that movie was such a mess.
Where John Malkovich was going to be Condor or whatever.
The whole thing it just became such a mess, and it wasn't as much of a kind of, I don't want to say sure thing, because nothing in this space is ever a sure thing, but there's more of a plan for this DC universe right now. That's not to say that she's definitely going to play this character, but if she is introduced in Batman v Superman, I would actually, just what this viewer had asked as well, I'd actually prefer to eventually become Robin in the standalone, because you go back to the conversation we've been having on this show about how much is too much in Batman v Superman, because we don't know how much is going to establish with Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Batman and Superman, which is called Batman v Superman. And I don't want Robin to just be kind of like a throwaway thing. I want them to, if they're going to develop this relationship between Affleck and if it is Jena Malone, I want to see that developed, and hopefully more it's done in the standalone.
John Christian, this needs to happen in this film simply for the cosplay possibilities alone. We need to see more female Robins at conventions. This could happen, and the reason why it could happen is because Ben Affleck is cast as an older Batman, and so the storyline with this female Robin goes that he lost Robin, and that's why he retired. So if that is one of the things that's adding to Ben Affleck's dark, brooding character when he's retired and he's so upset, that's really interesting. And I feel bad saying that I want a dead male Robin to kick off in Batman v Superman, but if that's one of the reasons that sets him into retirement, and then he sees this girl, and then that brings him back into the limelight, along with the fact that he wants to go against Superman, I think that's really cool, and that adds another layer of emotional depth to Batman's character. So if it helps out Batman, my boy Ben Affleck, then I'm all for this actually happening. I agree with you, boys, that it's a lot of people you're cramming into this movie, especially if you try to touch this storyline at all in anything other than hinting at it. It might be too much for this movie, but for the Batman standalone film, it's an interesting premise, and it's one that we haven't seen before on the big screen since Shark Spray.
Here's one of the other good things this has going for it. Look, I am very firmly publicly on record no Robin. No Robin. No
Ever?
Robin.
Ever?
Well, no, but let me. Here comes the unless part, right? The whole problem I've ever had with the idea of a live on-screen Robin is the fact that in this new universe that they've created, Batman does not take a 12-year-old child into a war with the mafia. He just doesn't. And it would lose something. Even to find out that in his past he did that, it would lose something for me with the Batman character. But that doesn't mean that the notion of Robin is a bad thing, right? I did a video a little while ago on how a Robin could work in the movies. And I think this type of scenario, once again, we don't know that this is what's happening, but I'm just saying, if they went the route where Jena Malone, as a grown adult woman, at some point starts to work with Batman and takes on the persona of Robin, that does a couple of very cool things. Number one, I think it will fulfill the wish list, maybe not exactly, but of a lot of fanboys who want to see it. But most importantly, it also helps fill out that drastic disproportionate amount of women in these superhero films.
Right.
So this could, I still don't know that this is the case, and I really don't think this is what's happening, but it could be really cool if they handled it right.
Yeah, and the other reason that I was thinking about it as well too is because it's not Dick Grayson, to where you start. I think that maybe they even say that at one point that we'll never see, Dick Grayson was in the mythology that we now know. But there, like you said, John, it's kind of like the Dread Pirate Roberts thing. Eventually, there's just more people taking over the persona of Robin, and she's the next one in line that Batman has not wanted because of what happened maybe to Grayson. No, I don't want any more partners, and then she convinces him in a way that works, and a way that works in this new genre and the new tone of the film. Then yeah, it could work great. And I think people shouldn't just be screaming because of gender. That's silly if it works for the overall story.
Right, yeah. I mean, Batman needs something else to brood on in these new series of films, because we've seen the origin story with him, and he lost his parents when he was a kid. I feel terrible for you, guy, but he got over it, and then he retired. So what brought him into retirement? What was going to bring him out of retirement? Is it just the fact that he's got to go fight this alien Superman, or is it something else that's more personal to him? We have to wait and see the movie.
That's a nice dress.
All right, what's next?
Trisha Long writes, "Hi guys, so I just watched the trailer for The Secret Life of Pets. I've never even heard of this movie until now. Did you guys see it? What did you think of it? Thanks and stay glorious."
It's wonderful. I mean, but I honestly don't know. I'm a pet owner. I have a couple of dogs. I've always gone, oh, that's the perfect picture too. Here's the thing. This dog looks just like my dogs. I have 2 wiener dogs that look exactly the same coloring as this dog here. And you have to understand, my wife loves our dogs so much that when she sees them sleeping in a cute way, she cries. Like she cries. She really does. I'm not even joking. And Ashley has played with my dogs, actually.
I have. They're so cute. One of them is obsessed with their ball. It's really adorable. And they do look identical.
They look
to that.
just like that. And here's the thing, too. So I'm home last night with my wife. And it's like, oh, let's watch the Secret Life of Pets trailer. And we put it up on the TV. And as this scene comes up, she starts to weep and cry. And then she goes, play it again. And she gets up off the couch and sits down on the cross-legged on the floor in front of the TV. Play it again. And then she plays it again and cries and weeps. I thought this was really charming. I was just kind of ticked off to find out it's not coming out for another year. But it looks great. The Louis C.K. voice, you recognize his voice instantly, and Sarah Silverman's voice and all that kind of stuff too. I was totally enamored with it, but I don't know how effective the trailer is going to be for people who aren't pet owners. I am one, so I'm kind of skewed a little bit. Christian, what did you think?
Well, it's what you just said. This movie comes out in a year, and if it was coming out in a couple of months, I'd be like, what is this movie about? Well, I see is really fun pets doing funny things, and if it looks like a cool viral video. Because especially at the end with the hard rock and the heavy metal and their that was great.
The little dog jumping on the couch as the other one's headbanging.
Super funny, but I have no idea what this movie's about. But it makes sense that it's not coming out for a year because this is just to let you know. Again, when we see this full trailer in like 4 or 5 months, oh, I remember the first trailer. This is to put it in your mind. Absolutely for pet owners to go, that's amazing. It's clever, and they did something that was super clever right in the beginning. Is throw those Minions in there to let you know. Same people that did Minions. Very smart, because guess what comes out very soon? Minions. So you're going to have that. You're going to have an association with it. It's really smart marketing on the way that they did this trailer. But yeah, it was amazing. I know we're not doing buy or sell, but I would buy this just because I want another dog.
Well, I'm not a pet owner, but unlike you bubbling softies, I can be objective about this.
You love
and
cats.
I love cats. I love cats.
God.
And the scene that stole this trailer for me was the cat that kept opening the fridge and looking at the turkey. It was killing me. I was dying laughing. This movie looks great. And I like the concept that it's almost like a Toy Story for pets instead of toys. It's like, what do these things do when humans aren't around? Those concepts are so endearing to kids and adults alike. It's so ripe for comedy. Speaking of comedy, when you look at all the vocal talent in this movie, we were talking about this on the show yesterday, where it's just usually you want to push celebrities into the vocal talent role, and even though there's plenty of non-famous people who could voice these things, but when you see that lineup, I mean, just the comedians alone, Steve Coogan, Albert Brooks, Louis C.K., this thing looks like a winner. It looks like a huge box office success for next year.
You know, you also said too about Toy Story. What I was hoping wasn't going to happen, and it didn't, was that the doors shut and they start talking like along the lines of the Toy Story, and because Toy Story's done that already. I like that they were doing things that you feel pets would do. I had a pug. My pug would drag his ass on the floor and do all that stuff too. So like all of that is stuff that pets would like. If a pet could do that and scratch himself that way, that's hysterical. So I like
can
it
you
better
see
that
2
way.
hours? I mean, at some point they're going to have to communicate with each other. And would you rather have them talking, or would you rather have them thinking?
I don't mind if they have like conversations and stuff too. Talking dogs is always funny. But I mean, as far as this particular trailer, they didn't rely on it to go, oh, Morty, did you see what? Blah, blah, blah. You know, like one of those types of conversations where it's like dogs can really talk to each other, and they're not just dopey fun things. No, they're dogs. They're fun. They're silly, and you see it.
One of the things that really got me too is that the last trailer, and I didn't notice it the first time I saw this, but the last time I did, because they have two sets of name credits. There's one sheet of it, and then it goes to something else. Then it comes back, and there's another big list of names. And the very last one was Albert Brooks.
Right.
And as soon as I saw the Albert Brooks one, I'm like, okay, I'm really into this now.
Fantastic. Now, in this trailer, you had dogs, you had cats, you had fish, and you had birds. Those are like your four. Those are the four quadrants of cool pets to have in your house. Will there be other pets? More exotic pets? Will there be a snake?
There'll be a hamster. Maybe a snake eats the hamster.
Probably going to be a hamster. You want Han Solo to die. You want the hamster to get eaten by the snake. You root for death.
No. All right, what's next?
I want a T-shirt that says I root for death.
Darrell Brown writes, how would you like it if a Jurassic World sequel took on more of a Planet of the Apes concept, post-apocalyptic type world with whatever humans left trying to either take back over the world or just to survive? Wondering your feelings on that type of sequel.
No, not at all, because that's what you just described. It has dinosaurs, but that's not Jurassic Park at all. That's not Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. Part of the charm and the magic of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World is these new, what are essentially alien to our experience, these alien creatures, you know, now human beings and humanity confronted with them. And part of what Trevorrow has done such a great job of in Jurassic World is kind of recapturing a little bit of that awe and wonder and magic. Like, that's a freaking dinosaur. And, you know, that's wild. And then the whole aspect of the difficulty of now interacting with that new reality. Like, human beings going right back to the, you know, the very first ones, like human beings and dinosaurs were not meant to be in the same era together, and how that would then play out. And then there's the horror aspect and the comedy and the action, all that kind of stuff is great. The type of film you're describing is a movie I would absolutely go out to the theater to see, but it's not Jurassic Park. It's not Jurassic World at all. It would be such a total departure that that's not something I would personally want to see. I don't know, Mark, what do you think?
I like the out-of-the-box thinking, though, because when I'm watching this movie, my one issue with Jurassic World is that I don't see how we're going to do a sequel that feels anything other than what The Lost World was. And I don't hate The Lost World, but I don't want to see another The Lost World. What Jurassic World did so brilliantly was that it gave us the feel of Jurassic Park that was updated for modern times. I don't know how you're going to do that with a sequel, because there was so much that happened in this film. How can you do something that feels original and new and fresh? But if you want to see this concept that you're talking about, don't worry. There's a movie for that, and it's called Planet of the Dinosaurs. It's one of the worst movies you'll ever see in your life, but it's hysterical. It's humans trying to survive on a foreign planet where dinosaurs invade the Earth. There's only like 6 humans left, and it is so fantastically horrible. You need to watch Planet of the Dinosaurs. I tell everybody that.
Christian?
I got to go the other way. I not only think this is a good idea, I think this is the direction that they're going to go.
Wow.
I think that this is not the first time I've heard this. I've heard other people talking about this, that this is kind of the direction that they want to go with this. I think it's the only way you can go, because like you said, Mark, I'm done with people getting trapped in a park. I'm done with the fact that it's okay. They're not attractions anymore. And even without spoiling it, what the evolution, if you will. In this movie, there seems to be grand plans for the dinosaurs or what they want to do with the dinosaurs. I don't want to just do some military story. I think that it becomes kind of lame. I think that if you start to do it to where it is impossible to, when you try to become God and create life, it's going to backfire on you. And I think there's something to be said with that. And I think you can spread that over and make it a different type of movie, because you're right. It wouldn't be the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World that we know. But we've seen it twice. It's going to be hard to stay there and make it interesting. So I don't really want to see a sequel at all, but I think that if you do go in a different direction, it's this way, because you can do, you breathe new life to the franchise if you do it this way. Because look at Rise of the Planet of the Apes did, and it's how the apes first did it. So it's like first you would see whether it's Jurassic World or maybe it is the military trying to use the dinosaurs, and it backfires. Then the second one is those lone survivors trying to, it just becomes more, you have more storytelling that you can do. Now, I'm not saying that this would work great and it would be the best franchise ever. I just think that it doesn't limit you as much as trying to go, well, now they're in a SeaWorld type place, but now they're in a Busch Gardens type place. Now they're in a Disney World type place. It's like, how many parks can you do, and what can you do besides this?
Who do you boys think wins if you have half of a planet of apes and half of a planet of dinosaurs? Who's winning that fight?
Shared universe.
Right? And let's throw some predators in there, just for good measure.
All right, what's next?
Late Vinzwana writes, I was reading on the web that Vin Diesel is saying that another Last Witch Hunter film is already being put together. Is that true? I thought the trailer to it was okay, but isn't planning a new film already kind of putting the cart before the horse? Love all of your shows.
Okay, so what they're talking about is Vin Diesel got on his Facebook, and Vin Diesel loves actually posting stuff on his Facebook, and said, yeah, the studio's already talking to me. They want me to commit for the time frame to shoot it and all that kind of stuff. Okay, look, it would be foolish of them if they have a film that even has the remotest potential to be a franchise. It would be foolish of them to not at least lay a little bit of groundwork where, hey, if this film is a big hit and if it's a go, we want to be in a position that we can, launch off and be a little bit ahead of the game. They're not, setting production schedules. They're not, spending all the money yet. They're just kind of laying the groundwork. They want to know that if this works, we've got Vin Diesel locked up and ready to go. We're going to have a team of writers ready to develop what we need and all that kind of stuff. So greenlighting a Last Witch Hunter sequel at this point would be really premature. But them laying the groundwork, I think it's just good business. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, right. I mean, you have to do this with any movie that you think could turn into a franchise, whether it's Jurassic Park or it's John Carter from Mars. It's like, I don't know how this movie's going to do. I don't know how we're going to market it yet, but if Taylor Kitsch is off doing something else and he can't be John Carter again in our second movie because the first one was such a big hit, then we're really screwed. So we need to make sure that he's available. Now, if the movie's terrible and doesn't perform well like John Carter, Taylor Kitsch is free to go about his business as he pleases, but you got to make sure, especially with something like The Last Witch Hunter, which sounds like a cool premise, and it sounds like it can spawn multiple movies. Doesn't sound like it's just going to be a one-off, or that's the way it was envisioned, so it's the smart move on the studio's end.
Vin Diesel has a new book coming out called How I Put the Cart Before the Horse and Made $1 billion. He does that all the time because he's a marketing genius. He does it for his career. He does it all the time with Facebook and Twitter, with Marvel, with when he was teasing for the Marvel stuff and how he got jobs, and with Fast and Furious. He's promoting his movie. He's promoting the first one because now you're talking about the first one. Well, I didn't even know the first one was coming out. And will there be a number two? Who knows? I think it's him saying, let's get some hype behind this thing. He's a hype genius. He really knows how to hype stuff because, like you said, he posts on Facebook all the time, Twitter. The guy knows how to use this medium to promote his movies. He's done it with all these films. So I think that by doing this, it's just him saying, pay attention to this movie I have coming out, because if you guys love it, by me telling you more and more about it and doing it this way, I can make a second one happen. I don't want to build another franchise because that's what I do.
Right, but he's also one of these guys who has maybe learned from his previous mistakes where he thought that he's like, I'm not going to be in another Fast and Furious movie. He made the first one, and then he departs from that. Then all of a sudden it's like, man, okay, that Nanny movie wasn't as great as I was hoping it would be. And
Thank you for that
Triple
memory.
X's and all these, and now it's like, now let me get back into this. So he sees more than most people just the value of being in a popular franchise can be. Like I don't think he's going to leave Fast and Furious again anytime soon. As long as they want to keep having him in those movies, he's going to keep doing them. So you might as well, hedge your bets with The Last Witch Hunter too.
Just a little bit of a spoiler, but I have it on good authority that Vin Diesel's character does not die in The Last Witch Hunter. I don't know where I heard that from. Pretty reliable source. All right, what's next?
Kandala Srikar writes, "Hey guys, lovely show. I was just wondering, what are some of the best looking movies of all time in your opinion? Not talking about special effects, just pure lighting and framing."
I don't know how much visual effects. I know there's. Oh, there you go. Is Hero.
Oh yeah.
Hero. The Jet Li film Hero. Oh my God. The use of color in this film is unlike anything I had ever seen before it or anything I have seen since. This is one of the most breathtakingly beautiful films to just sit back and watch. Every frame is a freaking piece of art. It's just insanely beautiful that way. So for me, if you have not seen it, guys, treat yourself. Jet Li's Hero. I'm going to go with the Jet Li film Hero. What about you, Christian?
I would go with Prometheus, which even though I didn't love the movie, it looks incredible. I bring it up every show, so I might as well do it again. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. The Fall, which is
ooh, good one.
Tarsem.
Yeah.
If you ever see, and another one that Tarsem did was The Cell, which is the way he just shoots in general, and Birdman recently. Those are the ones that kind of come to mind.
Yeah, just to be clear, you're not talking about the Gina Davis, Dustin Hoffman film Hero.
No,
you're talking about
with Andy Garcia. Coming out.
Also,
of the plane,
great lighting in that picture.
Yeah.
but
Very well lit picture.
I'm going to go old school because I tend to notice lighting and framing more for whatever reason when I'm watching a film that's in black and white. Maybe it's because there aren't all these colors to distract me from what's going on. But Citizen Kane is a master class in how to showcase somebody in the foreground versus what's going on in the background. And it was one of the really pioneering uses of the camera to achieve that goal. Alicia Malone recently turned me on again to The Hustler, which is something that when you watch those shots and you study the way it is, you can kind of see who has the advantage in those game of billiards between Minnesota Fats and Paul Newman's characters. So those are the older school films that I'd go to. And then obviously even something that's more modern when you could have used color but didn't, like Raging Bull or Schindler's List, we're done like that for a reason.
All right, what's next?
Jeremy Kui writes, "Hi guys, greetings from Hong Kong. I've been watching some classic films recently and noticed that some of them had intermissions. I understand in early days intermission is needed to facilitate the changing of reels. Since films nowadays are becoming longer and longer, do you think intermissions will be back? Love the show and keep up the good work."
I don't know that films are becoming longer and longer. I mean, a lot of times there were eras that you had 3-hour films was nothing, and now there's still a lot of 90-minute films, but still, I don't think we're ever going to see intermissions back, but I'm going to tell you right now, I love the concept of intermissions. I really do. Because look, let's think of it this way. If you knew that a movie you're going into had an intermission, how much less would there be of people getting up and walking out to go to the bathroom and all that kind of stuff? I think it would happen a lot less if people know, hey, if I can hold up for probably 5 or 10 more minutes, we're going to have an intermission. I think it's really good on one hand for the movie theaters as well, because how do movie theaters make their money? They don't make any money by you buying a movie ticket. They make their money by you buying popcorn and soda and nachos and hot dogs. That's how they make their money. So you have an intermission where everybody can have a chance to stretch their legs, go out, I might as well pick up another soda or whatever. I think that would be great for the theaters on the other hand. And I would personally like a break. But now, on the other side of that coin, though, for the movie theaters, it's also not so good business because you take a 10-minute intermission, you are lowering the amount of screenings you can do every single day because that eats up clock. And as a moviegoer, I can see there being a drawback for us as film fans having a film interrupted. Like you're getting into the flow of watching the movie and then it stops. And then you got to get back into the flow of the movie again. So that could be another potential downside. I would still personally lean towards movies over 2 hours and 20 minutes. Thumbs up from me for doing intermissions, but I don't think it's ever actually going to happen. Christian, what do you think?
I don't think it's going to happen either, and I don't think I'd want it because this is all you're going to see right at the intermission.
But as long as it's in the intermission.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that people are going to miss the movie because they're going to be texting and forgetting about that's supposed to come back. The way that they did it back in the day with intermission was also because with like you said with theater and why they did it in the first place and how long it went. The point you made I think is dead on, is that you're so sucked into a movie. Like let's go to Braveheart, which is an over 3-hour movie. I would never want to be interrupted from my experience in Braveheart as I'm watching that movie, and then it's like, go get yourself a soda, take a pee, and it's like, well,
Let's
wait.
all go to the lobby.
Right, and I just think that it sucks you out of it. You should know going into it, and I actually don't agree with you that I think that people would still go, even if they knew, like towards the end, they were like. It's just something that they just either they're going to get up, they're going to stick their feet on the chair, they're going to use phones when they shouldn't be using phones. It's just etiquette in movie theater goes right into the toilet when it comes to watching movies. But that's another rant. As far as the intermission, I just don't see it coming back.
Yeah, well, speaking of toilet, I have the world's smallest bladder, and I still do not want an intermission during the movies. I have a couple other options, though. My bedpan in the theater idea got shot down immediately by the heads at AMC, so that's not going to happen. But another one, in this YouTube generation that we live in, when you click on a YouTube video, then you see an annotation. How about you just have an annotation that says, this is the most boring, slowest part of the movie. Just for the next 5 minutes would be a good time. This is the drum solo part of the movie, so you're not going to miss anything. Or maybe there's some app that you can pull up and it tells you what you missed when you get back into the theater. So there's ways around it. But also as a moviegoer, it's kind of fun to try to sniff out, like if you really have to pee, like I think I better stay for this scene. Then as soon as this scene happens, I'm going to cut back in, and it's fun. It's a puzzle.
There is actually, I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to try Run Pee, I think is the name of it. I think there are apps where you can get that will tell you at what time in the movie is your optimal time to get up and run to the bathroom if you have to run out and go. Because like they already did the research. They know when a boring part in the movie is, and they'll say, hey, at 1 hour, 3 minutes, that's your time to go. That's your window. Go. And so you can get these apps that'll tell you for the movie you're going into when you should run and go to the movie.
Oh,
so
good. Well,
check out Run Pee.
That's not going to make Papa Harloff happy. People using their phones enough in the movie. Now they're checking to see, can I pee yet?
Yeah. Well, you look it up before the movie starts. That's the idea. All right, what's next?
Tome Kilk writes, my question is, if someone would receive an Oscar and did it with a ridiculous and offensive speech and maybe did something really, really inappropriate, would the Academy have the power to revoke the statue? Would it go to someone else? Did it actually happen at some point? Thanks, and may the force be with you.
I can't. Does the Academy have the power to do it? I think the Academy has the power to do whatever they want. It's their award, so they can do whatever they want. Has it ever happened? I don't think it's happened. I could be wrong about that. So you guys, if you know something that happening, please by all means jump in the comment section and let us know. But I would be against revoking an award. As far as I know, when they hand out an Academy Award to somebody, it's because they were the best performance this year, whether it's the performance in acting, their performance as a cinematographer, their performance as a designer, whatever. It's an award given to the person who did this the best. And if the person who did it the best was an a-hole, it doesn't matter. If they were the person who did it the best, then they get the award. If the person who did it the best comes up and takes the award and gives the big double middle fingers to everybody, the big F you to the Academy, and starts peeing on the stage and all that kind of stuff, I would throw that person in jail, but I would still say, was he or was he not, was she or was she not the best at what they did that year? And if there is, then there's no more discussion. They got the trophy, and that's where it should stay. That's just my opinion. That's why I still think Pete Rose should probably be in the Hall of Fame. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, Mark, what do you think? Would you take that Academy Award back from somebody?
No, I wouldn't, because look, here's another example. O.J. Simpson is not a good human being by most standards, but he did win the Heisman Trophy at USC.
Do I need to remind you that the glove did not fit?
He should keep. Then I must have quit. He still is the Heisman Trophy winner. What the NCAA likes to do sometimes, they like to nullify a championship and say, no, because you violated some things that happened, so now we're going to take away these wins from you. But I think that if the Academy wanted to do something like, no, we're going to take back the fact that I don't know if they can physically take back the statue. I think they have like somebody come to your house and be like, no, that's our statue back. But they might be able to say like, oh, 1970 just doesn't have an Oscar winner anymore. Or because they were so upset that Marlon Brando didn't show up and sent an actress in Indian headdress to go make a protest statement to accept on his behalf. Like, I can't imagine something crazier than that happening, so I don't think that this would ever go down. I think in theory, though, they would have the power to say, we are the Academy, it is our award that we gave to you, so give it back, Seagal.
Seagal, yeah. Christian.
No, what I think is going to wind up happening is if something like that happened to where there was a really offensive speech, they wouldn't take the award away. They'd say, yeah, even if this guy has the best performance of his life next year, he's not getting that.
Right. That could happen.
That's because
I would hope it wouldn't happen, but yeah, that could happen.
With the Academy, the way that when you come to an Academy right now that sometimes has admitted they haven't even seen some of the movies that they vote for, they could be spiteful. So if someone gets up there and let's say Daniel Day-Lewis goes up and just says the most offensive thing ever and then just takes his pants off and runs around the stage, even if he had the best performance, I think that the Academy is going to go, I don't know. You're not getting nominated, buddy. So
you think if O.J. Simpson was great in Naked Gun 4, he still wouldn't win the Oscar?
Probably not.
All right, what's next?
All right, it's time for the last question of the day, and it comes from Alex DeVito, and they write, Jurassic World turned out to be pretty good. Why did Rotten Tomatoes have no reviews for the movie until a few days before its release? Did the studios hide the film from reviewers?
No. Like you said, the reviews came out before the movie came out. They didn't hide. Now, sometimes there are embargoes till a certain date. And that is really, most of the time, that's just about the marketing department of the theaters planning, being strategic about their marketing push. They want to time the release of these reviews to go with these particular TV ads they're going to put out and blah, blah, blah. And it's all part of strategy. Now, sometimes you will get movies where that opens on, July 25th, for example, and, we will go to see a screening and it'll say, all reviews are embargoed until July 25th. That to us is a little bit of red flag, but even then, most of the time, we end up getting an email like a week and a half before the movie comes out saying, by the way, your reviews are clear to go now. And then sometimes the biggest of the red flags are when there are no press screenings, or the press screenings are literally the night before the movie comes out. Those are the biggest times the red flags comes out. But as long as the reviews come out like 3 or 4 days in advance, that's actually the sweet spot of when you're hitting your target audience. I really don't think that's a bad sign at all. Christian, as somebody who does this for a living, how do you see it?
No, I think that, especially for Jurassic World, it was a matter of it's just a strategy of what they think in the film. When we saw it, it was I think the Monday before something, and they have an embargo to where it wasn't too many days before where the embargo was lifted. And embargo is just when you're allowed to talk about the movie. And if it's got like 3 or 4 days before the movie comes out, I always say, okay, that's kind of normal.
Yeah.
And it's when it's the day before or the night. Well, you can release this as the movie comes out at 10 p.m. At 9:59 p.m. then you're in trouble. But as far as like 3-4 days out, and they're doing a mass kind of press screening to all the press in New York and LA and everywhere is just going to see it on that particular 1 or 2 days. It's normal, to be honest.
Yeah, the number of press screening options is also something I look at, too, is because Jurassic World had a lot of options, and you could see it well in advance of the actual release date and the embargo, so that usually gives me a little bit of a vote of confidence, like you said, John. Sometimes they don't even have the press screening, like Season of the Witch, they ain't showing that movie until Thursday at midnight before it comes out Friday, because they want to make sure that nobody gets their review out. With something like Jurassic World, even if reviews did leak and started to leak early, it was fine because most people appreciated the movie, and I think we saw it a week before it came out. And then the embargo was lifted like that Tuesday. So that's usually par for the course.
All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video for our podcast feed, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I want to thank, first of all, the guy sitting at the table with me, sitting on my left, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you online?
Speaking of that Jurassic World review, John, you can check out Christian and I's YouTube channel, Schmoes Know. Subscribe there. We're trying to get to 200,000 subs by the end of June. Make it happen, kids.
Sitting over here, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you?
Watch AMC Jedi Council today. We've got a lot we're going to talk about. Forrest Whitaker, blah, 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 blah. Make sure that you hashtag AMC Jedi Council, get your questions in there, and follow me, Christian Harloff, on both Twitter and Instagram.
And, of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you online?
On Twitter and on Instagram at Ashley Mova. Happy Thursday, guys.
And you can find me in all the various social media networks just at John Campia. That'll do for us, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.